Hi, this is Glenn Crothers from the Louisville Jazz Society, and today it's my pleasure to interview saxophonist Phoenix Schwarz Ward and guitarist Jayson Zorn. Both are recent graduates of the University of Louisville's jazz program, and they are two young musicians making a lot of noise on the local music scene. They are leading a quintet that will be playing the next Louisville Jazz Society Signature Series concert on Sunday, September 28th at 7 p.m. at the Café. It's always great to interview. I always enjoy interviewing longtime Louisville musicians, but it's even more fun to talk to up and coming musicians. So thanks for having the opportunity. Give me the opportunity today to talk to you both. So I'm always interested in learning how musicians come to jazz, especially young musicians when you're bombarded with so much different kind of music and very little jazz. So let's start talking about your musical origins. Phoenix, you grew up, I believe, in Lexington, Kentucky? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
How did you first come to listen and then play jazz? And why the tenor sax?
Mm. Yeah, oftentimes I think people assume, like, oh, your grandparents listen to jazz or your parents listen to jazz. So that's why you're into it, right? I don't really know. I just know that I loved the saxophone anytime I heard it live. I did grow up going to see a lot of music and a lot of local music, and Lexington does have quite a rich jazz scene as well. So I think that's what really kind of influenced my initial interest and passion for it. And I've been playing since I was about 10 or 11. So saxophone was my thing. Like at first in band, they wanted me to play clarinet. I was like, if you don't let me play saxophone, I am not playing in band. So saxophone's just kind of been my one and only instrumental love. So, and it continues to be so to this day.
Well, that's great. Great. Jayson, can you tell me a little bit about how you got started? You grew up in Chicago, in the Chicago area, right?
Oh my gosh, one of my papers just fell. Yes, I grew up in the Chicago area. Morris, Illinois, to be more specific. I started playing guitar when I was 10 years old. I was always a big fan of it. My grandpa always had like old music around the house. We go to visit them on the weekends, and I was listening to Eric Clapton and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix, David Gilmour. And those were sort of my early, musical influences, rock and blues musicians mostly. And I just loved that genre for such a long time. Always liked jazz, but never really understood it until I got to college. I decided to start, studying guitar more seriously and actually working on my technique and things. And I started studying a little bit of classical, a little bit of jazz, and just got my bearings with really understanding the intricacies of like the harmony and everything involved in these tunes, and how to approach improvisation, on a jazz style versus a rock and blues style. So that's a little bit about my background.
Right, right. Sounds great. So what have been your formative musical experience since you've been seriously pursuing careers as musicians? Are there any musicians, teachers, or mentors who have been particularly influential, and how?
Sure. Yeah, I think at this point, I've had a lot of amazing teachers in my life that I'm very grateful for. But I think a mentor that has gone above and beyond in my life personally is Dave Clark. Everybody knows Dave Clark if you're on the Louisville scene. He's just really incredible person, incredibly encouraging in how you want to express yourself as a musician and how you come to the music. And I think that's something that everybody needs and deserves. Absolutely.
Great. Jayson?
Yeah, I've been lucky to have a couple of mentors in my life. My grandpa, like I said, was my first one, introduced me to the guitar, built my first guitar, actually.
Really?
My first teacher was, because I was self-taught, until I got to college. My first teacher was Freddie Franken at Olivet Nazarene University. Amazing
That's,
guitar player from
that's where you
Aruba.
received your undergraduate degree, right?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, Olivet. And Freddie's just an amazing guitar player from Aruba, taught me, how to read music, how to play classical, jazz, introduced me to a lot of great artists, including Grant Green. And then some of my other mentors that I've had, a Louisville musician named Andre Gonzalez, who was also one of my professors at Olivet. Got me introduced to the scene here at U of L and got me connected with Chris and Craig and all the guys here, and that kind of brings me to my next
Fitzgerald
mentors.
and Craig Wagner, for those people who've been living under a rock, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Craig Wagner, as far as guitar goes, he's one of the best teachers I've ever had. I'm still trying to dissect all, because I just graduated, so I'm still trying to dissect all the stuff that he gave me. And Chris and Gabe, and I mean all the cats at U of L, they're just amazing what they do in terms of really growing young musicians and just really honing their crafts. So I've had a lot of great mentors, and hopefully I keep continuing to have them as well.
It really does speak to the richness of the musical community here, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That these folks have been so important in your own musical development. So you guys have played together in various combos, both at U of L and in the broader community, including, as I noted earlier, I watched your 2024 Hill House show on YouTube, which was real fun. And both of you played in each other's graduating recitals too, which I thought was real interesting. I saw the full recital both. What works when you play together? Why do you enjoy playing together?
Well, I just always think of, the first time I met Jayson, I was a junior, right? And, I came from a big love for Joe Henderson. And so I remember the first time we played together, and I was like, oh, I feel like him and I click really well together, and we got to talking, and he said he was really influenced by Green. I was like, oh, well, no wonder, because they did a lot of collaborations together, Green and Joe Henderson. And really ever since then, we've just gotten to play together a lot throughout school, on each other's concerts, on my original music, on Jayson's arrangements. And I think we just both, we just have that musical friendship, that musical chemistry that is really special.
Cool. Jayson?
Yeah, I mean, she took the words right out of my mouth when we first, started talking. Joe Henderson and Grant Green was kind of brought up, and I was like, oh, no wonder. They were contemporaries. They played on a lot of each other's records and a lot of their compositions. But even just beyond that, Phenex is a really great listener. She responds well, and that's always something I really appreciate in a soloist, is when you can kind of have that musical conversation with somebody. And it's great. She challenges me in a lot of ways. I think coming into U of L, I was a little bit of a jazz snob, if you will. I liked the straight ahead style the best, and it's still kind of my niche a little bit, but she's gotten me to kind of explore like playing with effects and playing more fusion styles and modern styles as well. So it works great together, and I'll keep hiring her, I guess.
And Phenex, has he pushed your boundaries? Has Jayson pushed your boundaries at all?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'd say on the other end of that, fusion and kind of more contemporary stuff is what's a little bit more natural to me. So he really pushes me in that more like straight ahead bop language and just honing in on that side of my playing. So I think it's a really good balance because we bring different things to the table, but are able to meet each other in the middle for sure.
It sounds like playing together sort of fills out your repertoire on both sides.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
great. That's
definitely.
great. Could you tell me a little bit? Well, you've already alluded to this, but could you tell me a little bit about how you chose to feature the music of Joe Henderson, saxophonist, tenor saxophone Joe Henderson, and guitarist Grant Green at your upcoming show? Why the focus on these guys' musics?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when we first started talking, when we were talking about our, influences and everything, I was like, it'd be really cool if we did a whole show of Grant Green and Joe Henderson music, because not only do the two of them have really great music, but there's a lot of overlap. We're doing a couple tunes, and I'll get into the repertoire later, but we're going to be doing a couple tunes that really you could kind of categorize as both, because they both kind of played on each other's records. There's a really great record by Grant Green called Solid that Joe Henderson is on, and there's a lot of great tunes off of that one. There's also another Grant Green record called Idle Moments that Joe Henderson is on. And so a lot of these tunes, you get to hear side by side Grant play and Joe play, and they're really two very different players, actually. But just the way that they approach each tune is really cool to see. So that was kind of the inspiration behind this show.
Right, right. Phenex, can you add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's pretty much exactly it. And again, I think it's just kind of a testament to like, why we started playing together in the first place. So it's really cool to have that full circle moment of we both have graduated, and so now this, concept gets to come to fruition.
Oh, nice, nice. I like that. Are you focusing on Grant Green's recording career? Is, as much as I know it does, he doesn't change a whole lot in his playing, but Joe Henderson does, right? In the 70s, Joe Henderson heads towards fusion. Are you guys focusing on any particular period of their playing or when they played together, which would have been in the mid 60s, right?
Yeah, mid 60s. I would say it's a genre of music I categorize as pre post bop, post hard bop, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's kind of this in between period where, you got some straight ahead guys, but then you got some guys like Joe Henderson and Woody Shaw that are sort of pushing the boundaries of what's popular, of what's possible on the instrument. But yeah, a little bit about the repertoire. I think we're doing most of the Idle Moments record. There's 4 tunes on that record, and we're doing 3 of those 4 tunes: Jean de Fleur, Django, and Idle Moments, the title track.
Right.
And then we're doing some of Joe's tunes. We're doing Black Narcissist. We're doing Jin Rikisha, which is off of Page One, another great record with Kenny Dorham on trumpet.
Punjab.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Punjab off of In and Out. Yes, I have the charts right here. I don't know why I had one. Okay. And then we're doing one off of Inner Urge. It's a reharm that he did of the standard Night and Day with it's a Cole Porter tune, and Joe kind of does a really cool reharmonization of it. And then we're doing I think a couple of tunes off of Solid. We're doing a tune by Grant Green, creatively titled Grant's Tune. And then we're doing The Kicker by Joe Henderson. And I think this is interesting. When you listen to Joe Henderson's version of The Kicker off of his sextet record, it's completely different than what Grant Green does on his record. So, I just think that's cool that he kind of defers to Grant and his style for his record. So I tried to get a good mix of things, but we're probably going to focus more on the mid 60s, the straight ahead era. We're not doing Inner Urge. I'm so sorry to the Louisville Jazz Society. You won't be hearing that song. I wanted to enjoy this concert, so I don't always enjoy myself when I'm playing that tune. So,
right. Well, you got to play what you love.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little about who will be joining you in the quintet? What musicians did you choose to play with you on Sunday, and why?
Phoenix, go ahead.
Yeah, we chose, Will Doty for piano. I'm sure a lot of people in the scene are very familiar with his playing. Tyler Paperniak on bass and Zach Kennedy on drums. Really just all killing musicians. I know Tyler's on the road a lot, so we were really just fortunate that he had the time to do this. And Zach Kennedy, if you haven't seen him around town, he plays a lot with Hot Sauce Brass Band. So yeah, all super talented players that really just bring a lot to the table to bring this all together. Yeah, super excited to have them for sure.
So on the promos for the show, Will is listed as playing organ. Is he going to be playing more than organ, or is he going to be playing just piano? Or
I think we decided last night that he's just going to play piano. We originally had it to do an organ thing, but I think he's just doing piano this time. So that might be a correction we have to make. But yes, Will Doty will be playing the piano like he always does, and he'll sound fabulous.
Great. Well, he'll be playing keyboards. That covers it all, right?
Yeah, just put keyboards. You can't go wrong.
Yeah. So you're both young musicians, both recently graduated. Jayson with your MA and Phenex with your BA. What do you plan to do with your future? What's next in line is now that you've graduated and you're moving forward with your musical careers?
Sure. Jayson, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So right now I'm actually working for a bank here in town. I'm kind of starting a new career. I really like it so far. It's cool. Keeps me on my toes, both on the teller line and elsewhere. And I'm playing a lot, you know. I'd probably play at least a few gigs a month, if not a week. I have some private students that teach lessons, and so it's very busy. But you know, it's good to be busy, as I keep saying, you know,
Yeah.
to myself.
Yeah. Do you see any like specific sort of musical path that you want to follow?
I don't know if I see a specific path. Right now, I'm my main music gig is I play at Bates Memorial Baptist Church under the direction of Anthony Christian, and I've really been enjoying that. That's really kind of challenged and pushed me since I've been here in Louisville, and just getting to connect with the gospel scene here in town. So that really is kind of I guess my main gig if that were to happen. But a lot of these jazz gigs have been starting to pop up for me. I'm starting to get a lot more calls on that end, which is great. So, and then just other things like, I did an Earth, Wind, and Fire tribute show a couple of months ago. That was fun. You know, just doing whatever people call me and they say, hey, you want to do this gig? Do you want to take lessons? I'm like, sure, absolutely. Whatever comes up, I'm open to it.
Well, both my son, Colin Crothers, and Will have said to me, who's of course playing keyboards with you guys on Sunday, have told me about how enriching playing in the churches has been.
Absolutely.
It really forced him to stretch.
I just connected that you're Colin's, you're his dad?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, you said your son plays piano. Yeah, your son can really play piano. Wow. He's amazing. I love Colin's playing.
So, and Phenex, what do you see for the? And thanks for that little boost to my son.
Yeah,
It was talking about you guys, but anyways, Phenex, what do you see in your future?
Yeah, so right now I'm teaching at the Kentucky Arts Academy as the woodwinds instructor. So everything from saxophone to bassoon.
To the damn clarinet?
Yep, to clarinet, to flute. So doing all that, which is great. I love playing the other woodwind instruments, so it's a good challenge for me as well. And I also do some part-time barista work around town, and yeah, really just saying yes to anything that comes my way. I'm just super open to any musical opportunity. I'm playing about at least a gig a week now, and also really focusing on my own music. So that's been super exciting.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? What kind of music are you dreaming up?
Yeah. So I actually just played a set that Jayson was just on too, of my own music for the Tyler Park Jazz Festival. I think the last one is this Sunday, so go check it out. But my group, we kicked it off the first Sunday of the month. And I really kind of focus on kind of pushing jazz into like a psychedelic, more contemporary direction. Besides jazz, I also really grew up with a lot of like reggae influence, like traditional reggae influence and psychedelic rock influence. So it's kind of focusing on how to innovate that into something fresh is my goal, and just keeping it something for a broad variety of listeners. So something that, anywhere from children to older people could enjoy is the goal, and connect with.
Yeah. I like the way modern, recent jazz musicians have been incorporating other styles of music into jazz and sort of reshaping the sound as a result. I look forward to hearing what you come up with. I unfortunately missed the Tyler Park concert, but I really look forward to hearing what you have to what you're doing. So
thank you. Yeah, won't be the last.
Cool. Well, this sounds great. Sounds like you got great plans for the future, and best of luck to you both. And thanks again for talking to me today. And remember that Phenex and Jayson will be leading their quintet featuring the music of Green and Joe Henderson at the Café on Sunday, September 28th at 7 p.m. as part of the Louisville Jazz Society Signature Series. This is an opportunity to hear some of Louisville's best young musicians who are energizing the local scene with their playing. So don't miss this. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great show. And thanks again, Phenex and Jayson.
All right. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thanks for talking to us.